Okay, guys, welcome back to our next session at Saudi Entertainment Expo. Networking beyond borders, connecting local investors and international brands. And it's my pleasure to invite Mustafa, Oliver, and Amir to the stage. These guys, welcome. So let me start on the end and I'll introduce Oliver. Ollie Wood is Director of Adventure and Sport at Red Sea Global, one of the world's most visionary developers of tourism destinations that are luxurious and regenerative. What an introduction.
Look at that. Adventure and sport. Makes me sound very exciting.
It does, and I'm sure there's going to be some exciting invites. Since joining RSG in July 22, Ollie's played a pivotal role in shaping the unique character of the destinations through carefully curated experiences, robust infrastructure, and seamless operations. That's what we like.
Thank goodness for good copywriters.
So welcome, Oliver.
Thank you.
And pleased to also introduce you to Mustafa. Mustafa is GM of the Middle East and Africa region of Outdoor Factory.
Welcome.
2 decades of rich experience in construction, theming, oil and gas, consistently showcased with leadership and managerial prowess. That's what they told me to say.
It is right. Mostly correct.
Good, good. Well, welcome, Mustafa. Proficient in navigating complexities of large-scale projects such as Doha's Oasis mixed-use development, Ketafan Island Water Park, Qatar Foundation Cultural Center, Northwestern University, and many, many more. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Amir is the commercial director for Abdullah Al Hotheim Investment Company, a history of working in the entertainment industry over the past 10 years with international corporates all over the world. And he describes the best achievement of having a great relationship and trust with their international partners.
That's what always we need to do.
Well, welcome. What great experience joins us in this panel. And let's kick off straight in there and let me throw out the first question. We talk about investments and partnerships. Do you guys have some successful stories, some great stories of partnerships between local investors and international brands in your world of entertainment? Let me start with Ollie on the end.
Yeah. Look, I mean, for us, as many know, we've just gone live with our first 3 hotels. Our focus is very much on building the operations around a large-scale development. And so from my perspective, so adventure and sport, but also looking at destination development, we do all the bits in between the properties, and inevitably we're getting involved with the delivery of all the activities that happen alongside our hotel operators and partners. So for us, it's very much a unique thing. I remember speaking in a keynote. I learned my lesson and joined a panel this time. I remember speaking at a keynote last time and talking about to a room of people that want to build things about not doing it, and trying to understand a little bit about how the intelligence within this ever-growing exhibition can be part of what we're trying to do. So the interesting thing for us from a Red Sea perspective is a disadvantage and a plus. It's the first mover. It's being somebody that's doing something for the first time, experiencing guests in the environment. And in the same way, this is how we're approaching a lot of the partnerships we have globally, especially within the entertainment space. So what do I mean by that? Ultimately, we are having to make decisions about technologies, especially with this regenerative position, this leave things better than you found them, which is really trying to make sure that we are ahead of the game in terms of electrification of whether it's vehicles or vessels, and the way that we establish our experiences in the wild. So for us, the way that we work alongside the PIF ecosystem is to try and engage with partners that are launching new products at an early stage that fit within that sector, that give us that advantage of doing something exciting, doing something amazing, but we have to do the scrutiny and the feasibility as to can we move, can we grow, and can the ecosystem enable this person to come in, operate from within the kingdom, give us all the service and maintenance support with the products that they've created within the kingdom, and enable us to grow with them, and is this the right product to back? And that's happened with a lot of examples. We're just about to receive 2 very awkwardly named canoe vehicles. That was interesting with procurement, trying to describe a canoe vehicle, but they've just arrived and they're going to join us on site now. And NASA uses these vehicles. They're electrified adventure vehicles. The one we've got is called Bulldog. And the idea for us is to back somebody with the volume that we can buy, to be able to establish ourselves as a first mover and give all of our guests the advantage of a brand new product they wouldn't have experienced elsewhere. So that's the way we shape these partnerships to benefit both them and us, and it takes a bit of a filter to get to that point.
Awesome. Mustafa, what does that look like for you?
Actually, what we are talking here is about the international brands and their engagements with the local investors. So I want to talk about what an international brand is, which one of us, we are an outdoor factory, we are an international brand. What does it mean? We work in different countries, different continents. It allows us to meet with different cultures as well as to learn customs of different people. In these countries, people speaks different languages. On the other side, there are different legal aspects, legal procedures, law applications totally different, logistic challenges totally different, and you need to deal with the financial risk, fluctuations on the currencies. This is what an international brand. On the other side, that international brands are bringing expertise to the new countries, to the new areas, like Saudi. This reputation of the international brands wins the trust of the people. New technologies introducing to the market, it also attracts people, as well as international brands teaches and educates the local workforce. This is what international brands does. On the other side, local investors and local contractors is part of this journey. What they do, they know the market very well. They know the business. Logistically, they are fast. They know customs. They know the law, especially in Saudi Arabia market. The regulations are sometimes day to night, night to day. It changes. Regulations, law, applications. Locals are adapting this easily, and they can be a bridge between these changes and the international brands. So what I believe, without one of them, this system cannot be consistent. International brands should be in the market. For sure, local investors and local contractors should be involved all kinds of these projects, first of all.
Perfect. And Amir, what does it look like in your world?
Actually, Neil, answering your question, which is the international brands that we work on, the projects that we work on in the kingdom for the last couple of years. As you can see, in the last 3 years, a lot of international IPs have been targeting Saudi Arabia as an important market for them. And you can see in the entertainment industry, a lot of brands have been announced, as Hasbro came new to the market. Also, you can see Cocomelon from Moonbag, also Monopoly Life Size from Game Path in UK. All of them targeted Saudi Arabia in the last 2 years. And you can see all the big projects, they are targeting the international brands. And this is one of the most important things that we can all look at. Because as you can see, the international brands nowadays, they are the most important thing to work with here in Saudi Arabia. As you know, now today the social media is taking control of everything, and everybody is seeing everything around the world, what's going on. So they are building brand awareness all over the world. So to do this, we worked on several projects in the last 3 years. I worked on Hasbro project, Play City, Cocomelon, Monopoly, Life Size. We started investing with international brands in the last 7 years with Sky Zone. We brought them from USA, and we opened here our first branches. It was like a very big risk at the beginning, but as we can see and we can follow the market, all the international brands that open in the FEC industry in Saudi Arabia, was successful for the international brand and for the local investors.
I guess, why do you think it's strategically important to pick these brands to go, to talk about local investors, to collaborate? What's the strategic element, and how does that come into play for your business?
Look, I mean, in many ways, we're creating brand new industries. You know, when we first started to move forward on the development of Red Sea Sports and Entertainment Company, so this sits beneath Red Sea Global as a subsidiary and functions as a vehicle for all of the experiential activities that you could do, and undoubtedly there'll be other elements within the business that come in and grow other verticals for operation. At the moment, you've got water sports, you've got diving, you've got inland adventure, so we kind of above and below water and inland. And I had problems getting stand-up paddleboards in. I had problems getting all sorts of things into the country because we were doing it for the first time. It might have come in on the back of a super yacht or been a personal, a private purchase, but to do it at scale is very much reapproaching the entire ecosystem of stakeholders. So that'll be right through to Saudi Water Sports and Diving Federation, Saudi Sailing Federation, all of these people that have been greatly helpful to us, as well as customs, as well as kind of leveraging the amount of influence and strength that we can put forwards in what we do. So working with all of these brands for the first time enables us to start getting this system in place where I'm not just ordering 17, I'm ordering 1,000. I'm not just ordering 1,000, I'm ordering for the 1,700 kilometers of coastline, which we're now, you know, have developable pockets along. So it's about that single movement together, but then it's also, to kind of divert from the question as well into another subject, is it's also about transparency, you know, and also about understanding everybody's priorities and timelines, and on both sides of the table, getting clarity around what you're trying to achieve and when you're trying to achieve it. I mean, I'm sure everybody's either reached out on LinkedIn or, you know, it's like a walking LinkedIn page here, or people have been reached out to on LinkedIn. But I think the biggest thing is understanding who you're approaching, the investor you're approaching, and understanding where they are in their lifespan, so that whatever proposal you're making now and whatever meeting you're requesting or whatever product or service you're selling, it's relevant to the point in their timeline that they are, and so that you have a valuable relationship that keeps going. And sometimes it's good to take a step back and say, let me connect with you when this happens, or let me just keep sending you a couple of things every now and again, and then we all move together at the same time. And that's definitely something I value from this event, which again has grown and grown, but it's understanding that you might have something to sell, somebody else might have somewhere where you think it works, but it's listening between those two as to when that actually works, and also not having everything, you know. It's focusing on specialisms and really working hard to focus on that. And then I think what I try and do myself, sorry, I'm talking a lot. What I try and do myself is to try and make sure that we connect everybody together. So people like us link together. Do you need this? Let's keep growing the industry collectively, and it benefits everyone.
And we're almost moving into the next question there. So let me pitch this to Mustafa. Key challenges in this market with investors and brands. What does it look like? What do you guys struggle with?
Actually, the previous question, I will take it from the other way. Importance of the collaboration for the international brands to be with locals are important for many reasons. But for me, the most important thing is the culture. Even if an international brand has a 50 years, 100 years experience in something, if they don't know the culture of the country, especially a bold culture like Saudi culture, you know, it is very bold, it is very intense. If an international brand doesn't learn this culture easily and rapidly, their success is impossible. That's why local investors should engage in the project, engage in the operation, to teach to the international brands what is culture, what is customs, what people enjoys, what they don't like, what in some context religion doesn't permit to do some things, especially in the entertainment sector. The culture is important for the collaboration.
I mean, the same question. Let's challenges from you guys. What do you what do you
Actually, one of the most important challenges between international brands and local investment is that culture diversity. So you need to study very well what brand are you bringing to the market. It depends on both, not only on the local investor or the international brand. Both of them must study the market very well. Both of them must make the good researches, and both of them must know the right time to open such an international brand. As you know, there's a lot of diversity between Saudi Arabia and a lot of countries, but now Saudi Arabia is moving forward every day, and every year we can see the development that's happening. So you have to always study the right time to open an international brand, and in how to open it and how to collaborate this international brand or your operation that fits the local market that's available. A lot of brands opened here, and we can see them that they didn't succeed in the right way, and a lot of brands know they succeeded in a very, very great way because they opened it in the right directions, they studied the market correctly, and they understand how to give their services the right way to the Saudi culture.
Perfect. Let's flip it around again then. Key benefits. What can local markets gain? What can investors gain from these collaborations? Ollie?
Well, look, I think there's the obvious aspect of bringing new things into the market, thus adding diversity to the amount of experiences and entertainment everybody can enjoy. I also think, going back to what you both said, and cautious that I spoke a lot last time, that the volume at which international brands can produce within their own markets is interesting in terms of us being able to explore innovation. So I kind of go back to this regenerative position, right? So if we're going to really be held accountable for that position, then we need to try and work with people that are capable to diversify their product line to fit alongside that set of metrics which fits with, is this sustainably manufactured? How does it move? How is it designed? What materials are being used? So working with international investors is actually I'd love to work with international investors. As an investor working with international brands, it's looking at how we can work with them to create new products and come back in. That's really the strength that intelligence of time and legacy brings into an industry which is new.
And again, as we look at that, what's the potential for future growth? Where does future growth sit? Where does future collaboration sit? We talked a little bit where we are today and what we're doing right now, but where do we need to go next, Mustafa?
For the future, mostly, I believe in the future things is going to be around the digital expertise. I mean, everything becomes more digital nowadays. Even the games, entertainment, before it was equipments, it was machines. Now everything's digital, so probably locals is going to get more digital expertise from these collaborations, and international brands will have bigger market share, and probably financial gain from these collaborations. That's
perfect. And Amir, you talked about a lot of partnerships that you guys have with big brands, and you gave us some great examples
and
of
a
what
lot
you're
of
operating.
coming soon also.
So what are the strategies? What would be your advice? What is you guys as investors and operators, what's your advice for other investors who are looking to attract and establish these kind of brands and work and align with them for their properties?
As I told you, Neil, it's the most thing the only advice that I can give to all these local investors is to study the market in a very good way. A lot of investments have been done so far, and a lot of eyes on the entertainment industry especially, and everybody wants to work in the entertainment industry. As you can see, there's a lot of brands all around the world, but some brands are well known here in the market and some are not. So my advice to always target the brand that already have a brand awareness in the market so that you can get a successful number of guests or customers or loyal customers that you can get here, and you can build an easy image for you. Also, one of the most important thing is to study the market very well, where to open and how to open and when to open an international brand. There's a lot in the market. The competition is coming bigger and bigger. There's a lot of new brands coming that also and developing very fast. Life is moving very fast. Development is moving very fast. As also Mustafa said, digital investment or digital technology in the entertainment industry is becoming bigger and bigger. There's a lot of new brands that came up in the last 2 years in the GCC market and also internationally. I advise them to look at it, to study the market, and to see if this kind of investment could be an added value to the market. Just take the step and move on.
And I think Ollie touched on this earlier, but what about legal, regulatory? You know, this is a new market. These brands are approaching. How do you guys manage that? Is that a challenge? Is that something that's pretty easy? Is it easy to do business here? Is it something that's a necessary challenge?
Local regulations in Saudi is evolving daily, and legal applications evolving daily, changing daily. Even I was discussing with our legal advisor. He said, Mustafa, everything changes very, very, very fast. Even if you ask me how many minutes a football match is, I will ask to the federation, football federation, if it is still 90 minutes or not. Then I will confirm it to you that it is 90 minutes. So again, partnership of international brands with the local investors are important to get local advice, local legal advice on spot. That is important at the moment.
Guys, anything to add? Was it pretty easy in your world?
No. Look, I think the reality is back to what we're trying to do effectively is establish a new way of working and a process. We've got a process that works across the breadth of our business, from the large-scale contracts on the development side right down to my guy with the stand-up paddleboards, right? So the way that we're running these systems and supporting individual teams is from the other side, international brands, is to make sure that we've got the right infrastructure and the right people in place to be able to guide them through some of our systems. Some of it will be new to people, some of it will be too technical or too much information required. We like to go into a lot of depth, as you well know. So what we're trying to do is build the teams that are able to guide international brands through something they might not have had to experience in the past. And then also we're trying to actively notice when laws or things need to be updated or adjusted to allow us to follow on that vision path and try and work towards what we're trying to do. And the whole governmental kind of ecosystem has been very helpful for us to be able to do that. So it's a process that's, you know, again, we're kind of doing first in a lot of ways, and it's getting to the stage where we're moving ahead with a variety of different international brands, and it's starting to really come to life as people start to arrive on site and in the destination.
Perfect. And I think I would agree from our side as well. It's moving so quickly. It's just the regulatory and everything is just trying to keep up with how quick
you've got to handhold, and as an international brand, you shouldn't be concerned about asking for support, because you know there's very technical systems, terminologies that might be different industry to industry, but software that's used across the board. And so there you have to be able to say, look, this is completely new to me. I need you to guide me on this, and speak to your counterpart in that business to make sure that support's driven throughout the whole process. Because ultimately, if you're engaged, that's because somebody wants you to be part of the project, whatever that is, product, people, intelligence. So it's in their best interest to take you all the way through whatever legal or financial system is in front of you. And we prefer, obviously, to work with brands in the kingdom. So finding, and in many ways, we're not all trying to set up as distributors, manufacturers. So finding those right partners locally and using, whether it's somebody like me or whether it's the investment side of the business, I think that's really key to do to be able to move quickly and fast.
Perfect. And I want to make sure we leave some time for questions, so let me wrap up. And Amir already sort of touched on this, but you guys have all got great experience in the market, and you're all in various stages of your projects. What would be the advice from your professional experience to local investors connecting with these brands? Somebody who wants to start today and they want to go out and they want to be at the Expo and they want to start connecting with these brands, what would you say, Amir?
Actually, there's a lot of opportunities for them these days. They must take the step. They must develop new ideas. Always look at the new ideas that's not available in the market. Every day, the entertainment industry is developing day by day. New ideas are coming up and coming out. Successful one. Some are not. Some are very successful. So you have to always take the right idea, develop it in the right way, and go out there. You will find your way, and you will get the right results.
Perfect. Mustafa, what's your advice?
Actually, I would advise to the local investors for all sectors, not only entertainment, to focus on something, at least a few things, not to invest. We will do that, we will do that, we will do that too. Also, we need to do that. Oh, this is very nice. Well, let's invest to that one as well. I believe it will not end up well. People, groups, investors should focus on things which they like to invest, which they like to learn, and move on from that sector, move on from that part. And they will be specialized on that. They will be professional. After 10 years, they will be the international brand. 15 years, they will be the international brand for that particular thing. However, if they will not focus on things, they will invest on many things, but they will not have expertise on one thing or two things. This is my advice, humble advice.
And Ollie?
Yeah, I think it's the jack of all trades, master of none, right? You need to really be able to establish your hit list when you're going into a market and approaching investors or businesses you want to work with. And then you really need to study each one of those businesses, and don't have, we're going with everybody, don't have an endless list of things you can offer, because it becomes very tiring on the other side of the table. And I think focusing in on those specific businesses you want to work with, and then really understanding them, so you're also walking into the room with an acute knowledge of why I'm speaking to you, what I have that I am presuming, but through experience and research, that you will want, and how I'm going to focus in on that. And if that doesn't work, be prepared to walk away or try another way to reapproach, but don't suddenly go, oh, well, I got this might work as well. So it's really being clear on product position, how you approach people, who you're approaching, and be willing to see that through and walk away and look for the next person, because there's a lot of people in this room and beyond that are looking for new things, especially within this market and industry in the kingdom. So there's a lot of opportunity if you approach the right way.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you to our panelists. So let me open up the floor for questions. I think there's a great panel here with some great experience of operating in this region, and I think we've got a mic somewhere. Has anybody got any questions on the front we'd like to pitch to the panel?
Thank you very much. It was a very nice and guiding panel, and very nice listening to you all. I have a question. In terms of the local investors, there are many as you are. What is you've just talked about, give guidance or the process, how the international brands can go in the market, but what are the main criteria when you're choosing the international brands apart from the IPs? For example, some brands are coming to you, and what are the criteria? It's the innovation. What are they? If you can just count on three, what would be these three criteria, how you choose them?
So, does that person have something you need? Whether you need it now or you need it in the future. As when somebody approaches you, it's only human nature in any business to kind of work out whether there's an immediate need for that service, product, whatever it may be. You know, whether it's within a development or within a wide investment portfolio, and therefore within the kingdom specifically. And if you establish that person, then it'll happen quite quickly, that understanding of, I definitely need this, or I know this is coming, or I need to connect you with somebody that needs this. And that kind of goes back to that understanding who you're approaching and working out exactly what they need, so that when you approach them, you're actually doing it with something that you see in their timeline as being useful to their growth. That's really the main thing. Does this person need what I have? I know it's not exactly helpful, but I'll...
Perfect, thank you. Any more questions for the audience?
You got a band.
Yeah, we have a band outside.
Hi, yeah. Now, it's sort of a comment, not as a question. Comment and a question. Now, of course, international brands.
Would you mind speaking up just a little bit, because there's because of the band?
Of course,
Perfect.
international brands or IPs or the partners definitely will bring benefits to the local investors, the country and the customers. But on the other hand, okay, are they honest or frank that they are, you know, their approach or they are more objective to support these local investors, or just they are looking at their benefits only? Like some bitter experience I am talking. Okay, now when we are investing on the international brands, we look a little far, you know, long-term investment. Okay, so in the beginning, it might, you know, you will not get the output as you expected. So in that situations, the brands or IPs, they should support and help the investor, okay, without looking their benefit only. It's a mutual beneficial partnership.
Yeah.
Okay, now, so is it, now when you had this opening session, I like that one, gentleman who spoke about the creating local IPs. So do we have to 100% rely on international market, or this is the right time we have to think about creating local IPs and brands?
So I think it's sort of split into two on long-term partnership with those international brands, and then also, do you think about creating local IP and local partnerships?
Creating a local IP is a very important thing, but first of all, talking about international brands as if they are looking at the local investor as a, let's say it in a word, as if this is the side that I can get all the money that I want from. This is not the right way how international brands look at the market itself, because if they looked in that way, they are destroying their brand. They are not destroying only the local investor. At the end, the international brand, they have a brand awareness, they have a name, they have a reputation in the market, they have a big number of audience. So if they are looking it in that way, they will destroy their brand. Will not have a long-term business in this country or in other countries. So the most important thing for the local investor when they reach or when they are in contact with international brands, they must know what type of experience or attractions they must provide to the people, and where. The location is a very important thing. So you can open a lot of international brands in a lot of different ways and in different locations, but it will not succeed. And because it was a wrong place and the wrong time. But if you open it in the right way, in the right directions, in the right location, and if you study the market, which I said to you before, you need to study the market before you move in. Not only the local investor, also the international brand themselves, they need to study the market before they move in, because they need to understand, is this partnership or investment with these local partners will move on for future and will be developed more and more, or it will stop in a certain of time or like a couple of years. We found out in the market some international brands that didn't develop, didn't create new ideas, and then local investors came with local brands, with new ideas, with a new technology. They succeeded, while the international brand went out of the market. That's what you need to think of. You need to think of the new ideas, new development, always to make new developments, and the right locations. That's one of the important things.
Look, I think creating local brands is a brilliant idea. We've done that. It's not easy, because whilst we might be talking a little bit about product and things like this, intelligence and people is another very important thing. And the legacy that comes with established international brands, the supply chains, the processes, the systems in place are very important. So the perfect marriage, if you like, surrounded, the perfect marriage, if you like, is to do what is happening across the board, which is bring international intelligence in, but understand there's a layer that you have alongside your day-to-day work, which is to enable a young, talented workforce to come up through, but with brands that they can be proud of. So in some cases, creating a local brand, but using international intelligence to come in and build that system around it, allows you to establish that brand quicker, to grow that sense of, right, this is something cool. As a Saudi, I can be really happy with this, and then drive forward to educate the workforce that you've got, because there's a lot of companies that are about to hire a lot of people at exactly the same time. And you can't do that by going bottom up. You have to go top down with the intelligence, and international brands can come in with that intelligence and slot in to a public-facing brand which is truly rooted in the kingdom. So, and then it just keeps growing and moving, and the teams move around, and you end in that perfect place where it's Saudi-made. I've spent a lot of life next to very loud speakers, so I think I'm answering your question.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. And I think that's the end of our time. So let me say thank you to Amir, Mustafa, and Oli, and please join me in a round of applause for the panelists.